seating one's good stuff, but it doesn't like to be put with the dust, I've found, so I'm just going to give that a clean up. I'm going to do down there as well, because I want to seal that, don't I? The old problem of running out of space again, so I've cracked on while I've been uploading my last video so I can delete it off my phone. This is where I'm at so far. Only the back's fixed on. I've marked the position of the column there so I can have I got a hole saw on me? See if I've got hole saws on me. If not, I'll just have to cut it with the jigsaw, something like that. So I'll take this off and attach these in pieces. It ain't pretty, but hopefully it will do the job. So I've yet to put like a board in there to mount the instrument panel and the switch panel on, and some sort of lid. I'm thinking of hinging it here. I bought these hinges. Now slightly too big because I've adjusted how I've done it. I guess I could cut them with the grinder, cut them down a bit. I thought it would come over and just hang down or fasten back against there or something when I'm going along, and then I can lift it up to protect from the rain and prying eyes when I'm not on the boat. That's the idea anyway. And the bit of angle iron I took off the back, well, you can see that line there, I've brought it back on the boat actually, because I'm going to have to take a little bit off it, but I can attach it to there and there across, and then I can put some ply on there as a seat, which will probably be quite handy. I can't really build it up underneath because I need to be able to pull this engine deck board up and down. I could build up that side though, possibly. I would rather do it in steel, to be honest. And I am going to have to put the header tank in here somewhere, so I guess the hose up there around the back into a header tank there might be good, or maybe on this side so I can access it easier. Yeah, I'll figure that out later. Good strain there. They're so long, aren't they? I've got a new neighbour. This is actually the first boat I bought, and then I swapped it with the guy I bought it from for this one. It's actually longer at 45 foot. And it's a Piper as well, built by David Piper, I believe. Completely empty. I believe it had a fire in it. I could have kept it, and the original idea was to fit it all out myself. But it had one problem which was insurmountable, and that was that I couldn't stand up in it, even with no floor and nothing on the roof inside. The top of my head was touching the inside of the metal. So I would have to take at least 75mm off that by the time you got your floor in, your insulation, your cladding on the roof. So it just wasn't doable, really. Anyway, I'm just going to show you this. I've sprayed this up now. The back plate's attached and sprayed up, so that's protected from rust now. I'm going to go and assemble these now. I'll show you them when they're on. That's in the yeah, I've got this bits of stuff drying, so I'll dash back in here. I'll just show you this. So I've got the positive, buzz bar, that goes up to the, that will go up the pipe to the, what do you call it? That's what I need to do. I want to move this further down. It's too close to the positive, this negative buzz bar. I'm going to turn it and put it here, which I already made this. And then I need to connect the alternator positive to terminal 3 on the bus bar. The B negative goes through the block earth, so don't think about that. And then I'm going to have to think about this terminal connector here. I also need to connect up the automatic bilge pump positive, put the bilge pump in, put the negative onto here, and then run the positive up and through for the manual bilge pump switch, which will be also on the panel up there. So I'll crack on with that. I'll show you when it's done. Right, so I'm just going to make the cable up for the alternator positive, so that will charge the battery. This is a 25mm square millimeter rather cable, so it's not as thick as the one for cranking the engine, but still pretty darn thick. So I'll just take the insulation off. Here's my hydraulic crimper, Team Special. So I've got number 16 dies in it, even though I've got 25mm cross section cable, because that's how you have to do it with these cheap Chinese ones. Make sure that's shut. Get this somewhere close. Utilise the beer belly, or food belly in my case. I drink a right lot of beer. I like a beer, but 2 or 3 is plenty for me these days. I'm not saying when I was younger I didn't have more. Wish I worked at the paper mill. Go on a big night out round town, Wookington. Right, so that's just held there now. So I pop this in, trying not to let any of the cores go outside. Good. I'm going to use that there to hold, so I'm holding that in while I'm pumping. You see that? And if you just do that all the way, you get these fans sticking out where it's squashed between, so just before you put the final couple of crimps on, you release, tighten it, turn, and do the final nip up. And gets rid of that problem. Top tip from Luke on a neighbouring boat. They have a channel as well. I'll try and remember to put their link into the description of this one. Luke's a proper electrician, not a bodger. Not that I'm bodging, but you know, he's got some good top tips like that. They've also bought a 1970s boat, Luke and his girlfriend, Blue Eye. They're doing a nice job, proper job doing it up. So heat shrink goes on now. Don't be tempted to touch that until it's cooled down, because it's hot and sticks like shit to a blanket, as they say in France. Okay, so that's the M6 end that goes on the alternator. Now I'll do the M10 end for the 600 amp buzz bar. Some people say you should solder, but others, such as myself and Luke, I was mentioning before, don't agree with soldering because it makes them brittle, especially on an engine. You get vibration, you end up getting the cores shearing then, and that's not what you want, especially if you've got high current going through, because then it's all going through fewer cores. Just going to nip it, grip it before I put the cable in. Just when you're getting up to grip it, just make sure your positioning's right. You've got space each side is equidistant. In my experience, that's the best way of doing it. Okay, put that in there. I do normally have the radio playing, but it cuts out when I video. That's a noisy vehicle. Might be Greek George or one of your rap mods or something. Right, that's on. And no wings. So I've used the turn and crimp method. Thank you, Luke. Works an absolute treat. Give it a tug to test. Push that up to there. I've gone slightly over the whole edge, but it's 3-to-1 heat shrink, so it won't be covering it in a moment. You get two types. You get the ones with the adhesive in, which you can just see coming out the bottom, released by the heat, and you get the non-adhesive kind. You also get 2-to-1 size shrink and 3-to-1. This is 3-to-1 with adhesive, and you can see that the ring is free and clear there now. Alright, that's the cable made up. Okay, so this is the alternator. This is where the charge comes out, the B positive, battery positive terminal. So the M6 lug fits on there, and I'll be putting a flat washer over it, not under it, never Put a washer between the surfaces. Now I've just seen that I have actually gone a bit over the contacting surfaces there, so I'm going to trim that insulation on the bottom. It's getting in the way. The last thing I want is to cause arcing or something like that. I'm just going to cut that away there. We don't want a gap between conducting surfaces. No. I also want to keep my thumbs, so I'm trying to cut away from myself. Only not to be able to get to it in the washer. That was a bit silly. Lock it in properly. It's my temporary console. I just need to get all the wires in now, so I have to take it apart again. And that's how it'll look. Pretty good, I reckon. So I'm frantically now trying to get on with this job. I've had to go to 2 different chandlers today because I've been let down by parcel carrier companies. Say they couldn't deliver. Well, like, they couldn't be bothered. Got a message at 11:29. Your parcel will be delivered today. 11:37. We can't deliver your parcel. So I've got a fuel hose to go from the fuel lift pump to the fuel filter, from the fuel filter to the injector nozzle. That's the first job I'm doing. To get BSS compliant, I've bought the correct hose. It's got marked up with the correct markings. Well, depends which bit of it you look at, but it is marked up. I assure you. There we go. ISO 7840.